also just want to say something as well. I hate when people say matchmakers are just con artists. Do your research. A lot of people don't even do the research. There are so many different types of matchmakers out here in the United States, all over the world. And you guys are just making assumptions based on what you see on TV and social media. Do your research first, honey. That's not how it works here. Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to So What's Trending?
The bi-weekly podcast that brings
the sass, the spicy,
and the serious to lifestyle and entertainment news.
And we are live. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to episode 8 of So What's Trending, the bi-weekly podcast that brings the sass, the spicy, and the serious to lifestyle and entertainment news. I'm Anthony. I'll let my co-introduce himself.
Hey, this is Jeffrey. How's it going? I hope everybody's doing fine.
And we are your co-hosts for So What's Trending. For those of you who are new to the podcast, every 2 weeks, me and my Jeffrey talk about the latest trending news stories that is going on in our world today and report it back to you with our unpopular opinions. If you are interested in So What's Trending podcast, we highly encourage you to follow and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and to subscribe on YouTube and to also follow our social medias at So What's Trending Podcast. That's at So What's Trending Podcast. Before we get started, we always like to start off with a bi-weekly mental and psychological check-in as we are still living in these times of COVID, and for also you, the listeners, to catch up on what's going on in our lives today. So, Jeffrey, what's going on? How are you?
Awesome now. Getting computers to work. It's no fun. No bueno. But my week has been full of awesome stuff, I guess, rekindling old friendships and, just trying to keep up with life, applying to a lot of jobs and, all of that fun stuff. How about you?
Everything's going well. For people who don't know, I am a matchmaker here in Los Angeles, California. And as of yesterday, Wednesday, the 29th, I had a client win. Woo! I'm so happy for my client, and I'm so happy to hear that everything is going well. And other than that, I've been trying to stay safe and healthy during this time. As you know, COVID is something in which we're still battling through every day, and it is sadly still scary out there. But I still want to enjoy life. My mind is kind of at this point now where I'm like, I would just want it to be over. I'm really tired of it. I really just hate that I have the fear of like going to the beach or going to the mall or going hiking. Like I have a fear of like walking past someone and I have to like put on my mask because I'm scared that they may be like asymptomatic or they may be getting over COVID, even though that's probably not the case. But sadly, with COVID going on, that's just been like scaring me. So, I just hope for this to be over, or at least we have it under control. And I'm just trying to keep positive. So that all being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. Me and my are so excited to just get straight to it with our first segment. So what's trending? In this segment, we basically talk about what's trending and report it back to you with our unpopular opinions. So we are going to talk about the case that has been making headlines all over the United States, the Gabby Petito case. Woo, where do we start, Jeffrey? This case has been very much so the headliner for all the big news media, whether that was LA Times, Vanity, Page 6, etc.
Exactly. It's been a journey. I mean, murder, she wrote, and they did. This is not only one of the most ongoing trials, but kind of quick turnarounds that I've seen in a while for Mother the Murder, cases that are going on and missing persons and the cases that go on. Usually they drag on for months, but it seemed like within like a 2-week radio, it was like bam, 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 info. It was like, as Anthony will tell you, it's And you guys are lucky to have us and the awesome Anthony, because he will go through it. I'm excited for that because it's a lot to take in. We send our condolences and our respects to the family, and I also hope we can find the man that's missing, her boyfriend, and just really solve this case and get it down.
You are right there. So, Gabby Petito was a 22-year-old Long Island native residing in Northport, Florida, after moving in with her fiance, Brian Landry, 2 years ago. And friends and family described her as a very adventurous individual, very free spirited. Clothes didn't impress her, cars didn't express her, experiences, that's what impressed her. That's what the father, Joe Petito, told Newsday. Petito was someone who was very lively. She even had a live blog. And to my understanding, and I do want to let everyone know if there's any misinformation that I do say, I do just want to apologize in advance. This was just the research that I found. And if any of it is inaccurate, I do give my sincerest of apologies. So, for people who don't know, Gabby Petito and her fiance went on a cross country road trip. And what occurred, I'll try and give the best of timelines, the best of my capabilities. On August 12th, police in Utah responded to reports of disorderly conduct involving the couple. And they were describing as having some form of engaged altercation, which what the police report said, and neither was charged. On August 30th, Brian Landry was accused of using a credit card and PIN number for accounts that did not belong to him between the dates of August 30th to September 1st, according to a federal indictment. At least some of the unauthorized debit card activity was said to have occurred in the District of Wyoming or elsewhere. And then Brian Landry returned to his family home in Newport, Florida, according to police. However, it was reported that he was without Gabby, with whom he had been traveling on a cross-country trip with in a van. The van, which was owned by Gabby Petito, was recovered at Brian's residence. And then on September 6 to 8, Brian Landry and his parents, Chris and Roberta, stayed at the Fort DeSoto campground, according to county officials and the family's attorney. The sheriff's office has stated it is not currently investigating the campground and it is unaware of confirmed sightings of Brian. And then the weekend of September 10th, Karen Aberts, a neighbor of the Landry, said the last time she saw Brian at the family home was sometime on that said weekend. And Gabby Petito's family reported her missing Saturday, September 11th. Brian Landry's parents told police on September 17th that the last time they saw their son was on the 14th. It stated that he had left their home with a backpack and said he was going to camp in a nearby reserve. And then September 19th, unfortunately, Gabby Petito's remains were found in Wyoming's Briggerton-Teton National Forest, and the death was ruled a homicide. September 28th, an attorney for Gabby Petito's family said, the Landrys did not help us find Gabby. This is quote, they're sure not going to help us find Brian. For Brian, we're asking you to turn yourself in to the FBI or the nearest law enforcement agency. Chris and Roberta Landry do not know where Brian is. They are concerned about Brian and hope the FBI can locate him. The speculation by the public and some in the press that the parents assisted Brian in leaving the family home or in avoiding arrest on a warrant that was issued after Brian had already been missing for several days is just wrong. Gabby Petito and Brian Landry had been documenting their summer travels in a van on social media, but their post stopped about late August before Brian Landry appeared in his parents' home. That was all reported according to Newsweek. So very strange. Very, very strange. Me and my co Jeffrey, we love to pretend we're like detectives ourselves. And this case is very strange. Something is fishy. We got to talk about this.
Or
And we both have our hypothesis. We just want to make this clear. We are not saying this happened. We are saying that there is a potential or a possibility that this happened. So I'm just going to throw the question to Jeff and I'm just going to get straight to it. I'm not even going to like beat around the bush. What do you think happened?
I still honestly, you guys are gonna hate this answer. I still honestly don't know. But I will say it just feels like the boyfriend is guilty. The whole missing, the whole family agreeing to like the attorney, the weird videotape at night. Um, I mean, there's even evidence of that video going around where she's like mad at him and they're fighting, and someone calls the cops on them, and weirdly enough, and it seems like a motive to kill her. Maybe he was upset with her, or something happened that we don't know. And it's just all signs point to the boyfriend, and so that's all I can say. I mean, I have no imagining of like he took her out to the wilderness and 3 steps back. Aside, as much as I wish as I knew that yeah, it was hard, and then so much was popping inside. I was like, am I missing something, or is this extra? Uh, for sure. How about you? How do you feel about this?
I just want to say it one more time. This is a hypothesis. Let's be realistic here. Okay, there's a lot of suspicion that Brian is very, very suspicious. First off, Brian was seen driving the van back to Florida by himself. Of course, that the biggest question is going to be, where's Gabby? You can't just say like, oh, I dropped her off back in Long Island and I came back with her van to Florida. That's just one of the things that I just questioned. Another thing was he's not even talking about what's going on. When people ask, where's Gabby, or address the family, what happened, something, they already have an attorney. Why do you have an attorney? Like, let's be serious. Why do you have an attorney? You need to kind of question yourself and figure, like, where's the logic behind this? There has to be some form of logic. I'm trying to like replay in my head, like, there is some logic. No, there's not. There's no logic. Why do you have an attorney? Why are you not speaking up? Why is Brian missing all of a sudden now? He has something to do with it, I think. I don't like know 100%. This is just what I think. I think there is suspicion with Brian Landry being a person of interest. However, I can't say because I don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
I don't know what happened to Gabby because I'm trying to like think like maybe natural causes, but at the same time, the report came back as a homicide.
Yeah.
Something happened, and Brian doesn't look good. It doesn't. I even told my co this when I was like just talking with him over the phone. I was like, maybe he's being blackmailed, but I'm like, that wouldn't even make any sense. Like, who would go after Gabby?
Yeah, I'm kind of the annoying person sometimes. I always want the first victims that are blamed not to be innocent so badly. I said the same thing. Maybe he was tricked. Maybe somebody knows something. It can't be the boyfriend. It's too obvious. But, and it's always allegedly, guys. Remember, allegedly. So, like, but all the evidence allegedly points to boyfriend because he was last seen with her. It's just, I mean, no one else in her family or her friends supposedly, or obviously or whatever, um, was seen in the nature with her. That video of him on the deer cam, right, where he's walking in the in weird hours by himself, suspiciously. It's like it doesn't help his case.
It really doesn't. Like, I really am trying to make sense of it
Yeah.
because, like me and my we try to play like devil's advocate and we try to figure out alternatives. But it doesn't make sense that Brian went home in Gabby's van. It doesn't make sense why they have the attorney and they're pleading the fifth. It doesn't help that he all of a sudden went missing. And it doesn't make sense that the family isn't speaking out themselves. We just want to give our condolences to Gabby Petito's family. You guys, she was 22. She is such a young individual who just wanted to do great things. She had a blog. She wanted to do amazing things with the said blog. And unfortunately, this incident occurred. And we just hope that this case does find the justice it deserves. I would hate this case to go cold. I don't want it to go cold. And, this is sadly something in which we just have to play it by ear. Me and my will, of course, keep you guys posted on this story to the best of our capabilities. And yeah, we don't know. We don't know. We have our assumptions and we have our hypothesis. Is that what you like to call it?
Yeah.
We have our like hypothesis on what we think happened, but did it happen? We're not sure. Me and my have our hypotheses, but we're just not entirely sure. And we hate to leave on that note, but we will keep you posted on this story with updates.
Yes, we will. I mean, talking about crime and things that affect us, just really intensely. One of the trials people have been talking about this last year and a half, has been the trial of famous singer R. Kelly. And it's come to, well, at least a closing at one of these states, because he's been convicted of all nine. Let me get this right, guys. All nine charges, including racketeering, everything from sexual assault, kidnapping, and a bunch of other accusations that are now coming true, and women have been going forward. And get this, it's been more than 25 years of accusation in the federal court following this as well. So we've only seen this he even married the pop singer Aaliyah, R&B singer, at the age of 13, 14. And that was something that helped them in the case. And so it sadly, they said what helped his verdict and become guilty of those nine charges for at least this court, because he has other courts to go to, which means he'll get 10 to life at one of the federal prisons in the United States for all of these that he's been found guilty of. Has been the witnesses and victims of these alleged or actual cases now, because he has been found guilty. It's sad. I mean, everything from like locking them down, making them call him daddy. I mean, he was sex trafficking for many years. Some girls couldn't even go out. He was even brainwashing some girls, and there was like they were part of a call. There's a documentary out there, guys. You should give it out. The BBC has a wonderful article, and the article I'm reading right now has is by the NPR. And so yeah, and so as this comes to a closing in Chicago, Illinois, because this is where they've been going through the trial. So they have found him guilty. Now they're going to sentence him soon. How has this case affected you, Anthony?
I think the R. Kelly verdict is really a relief for those who advocate for the voices of African American / Black women. This was something that has been going on for years, and R. Kelly has dodged these allegations of abuse towards Black women and girls. And I believe that this guilty verdict was really a win. I'm sure that a lot of the individuals who were victims of this case, your voices were heard and justice was served. It sends a loud message to survivors of sexual violence. And I think today's verdict was made possible by the voices that are brave enough to step up and tell their story. And, you know, R. Kelly has been behind bars since I think 2019.
Yes, yes.
And there's more to be added on.
Yeah, it's been an emotional toll with this case. I mean, he pled at first not guilty to child pornography uh, in Illinois, and then there's other cases, when this trial. So he has multiple cases in different states. This is just one out of the many that he's going on, and even that's changed. I mean, guys, this is 25 years of accusations, and some of the testimonies that these girls gave, according to, lawyers and reporters and people that were there, say they were some of the most horrific, visual, like just bone chilling testimonies that they've heard in a very long time. And like my co said, it's a definite win for voices, and I hope he keeps getting what he deserves. It's horrible, where there's, flame, there's fire, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And 25 years, guys, come on. Many girls, young age too. He liked them really young. It's really uncomfortable. Yeah.
So, no, yeah, I think really R. Kelly, in my opinion, this was something in which it's a long time coming. He's been accused of this for 25 years, like my co said, and he could face up to 10 years to life in prison. Of course, like the attorney for Kelly said that they are considering filing an appeal and are disappointed in the verdict. And when it comes to legal problems, it's still not over for Kelly. According to CNN, R. Kelly still has legal battles such as child pornography and obstruction charges. And he also faces criminal charges in Minnesota for 2 counts of engaging in prostitution with a minor, and in Illinois state charges for aggravated criminal sexual abuse. He has pleaded not guilty to all those charges and denies any wrongdoing. So when it comes to all of this as a whole, I think me and my of course, this is something in which we just feel it's a long time coming. And this is just a big relief for advocates of women who are victims of sexual abuse.
I agree so much.
So all this being said, I know this has all been just like very downhill, but we promise that there's a really fun way of ending this segment, which is Britney Spears. Finally. So, according to page 6, Britney Spears burst into tears upon hearing judge's decision to suspend her father, Jamie Spears, as a conservator after 13 years. So, according to page 6, for the longest time, she had begun to think that she would never see the day that her father's domineering, controlling over every single aspect of life would end, but it finally happened. The insider added that she's in shock and at a loss for words, but literally jumping for joy. She hasn't felt joy like this in 13 years. The LA Superior Court Judge Brenda Penny conceded that it was Britney's best interest to suspend Jamie Spears from the restrictive legal arrangement that he has established in 2008. And the current situation is untenable, she said, after hearing arguments from both sides. It reflects a toxic environment which requires the suspension of Jamie Spears. I'm going to be honest. I said it since episode 1. Britney needs to get rescued. She's getting rescued. Finally, it's about flipping time. Free Britney. It actually happened, y'all. We're doing it. It's happening. It's going on. Thank goodness. Thank God. Get him out of here. Let Britney live her life and let her be a happy person and gain her happiness and freedom back. That's all I'm saying.
No, I mean, it's great to finally see progress when you fight for progress. You know, her fans have been standing outside the courtroom. We wanted her to get to a new lawyer. She got it. She has an awesome boyfriend that has now proposed to her since then. And, you know, people are really looking out for her. She even has celebrity friends, just like giving her advice and sending in their not only support, but secretly, allegedly, actually sending her tips on what to do and what to ask her lawyer. And that's how she found her lawyer. So, you know, good for her. We can't really wait until Britney is free. And it's a great day to finally have that.
Absolutely. It's about goddamn time. I
Yeah.
said it since episode one, and I'm so happy it's finally happening. And I hope Britney's happy. I really just wish her nothing more but happiness and freedom moving forward. And I hope she gets to truly live the life she wants to moving forward from today. So that is all the stories for this segment, but we are more than happy to shift gears and go to our next segment, which is called Hot Seats. In this segment, we bring you the inside scoop of the latest celebrity report cards that are going on in Hollywood today and report it back to you. So it looks like Will Smith had some interesting things to say about his relationship with his wife.
Yes. Jada. Very much. You know, for years, people have been suspecting them to be an open marriage. In this marriage, you know, they've been kind of open on and off, talking about being open. And in this GQ magazine, he graces not only the cover, but opens up that, you know, they kind of do have. It's kind of like a blurry line if it's real or not, but I mean, they've always talked like that. He says Jada has never believed in a true marriage, and he's always wanted to be in an open marriage, but it was hard for him at first. Uh, you know, but the major question in all of this is definitely, you know, the same thing that everybody's asking: do open marriages work?
Here's my thing about open relationships as a professional. In my opinion, it can work, but it only works with certain types of people. You can't really convince someone to be open to the idea unless they're actually open minded in the first place. If they're very content with being monogamous and being just committed to you and only you, then you can throw open relationship or polyamory out the window. It only works with specific people who are really open minded to that idea. Me and my co talked about it ourselves. I was like, I'm not sharing my partner. Jeff doesn't want to share his partner. So it's like, it just comes down to how we view our partners. And there's a lot of things that go into open relationships that you need to make work. And if it doesn't work, then you do need to reevaluate where you guys see each other when it comes to an open relationship, because there are different forms of open relationships. So you really got to understand what works with you, what doesn't work with you. And if you and your partner are just seeing butting heads, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm totally team monogamy, but I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not up for like threesomes, but it's going to be a very rare thing between me and my partner if that ever happens. Aside from that, I think they shouldn't be judged. I think it's great that people are being more honest on being in an open relationship because I hate people cheating. You know, a lot of us have been cheating on our family, and I think if people were more honest that they can't be monogamous, but they do want a partner in crime, it would be a very much easier thing to do, you know, to just like focus and and move on from that, you know. And a lot of people that have open relationships actually go through a lot of like sex therapy, regular therapy, all kinds of therapies to make sure they keep the relationship healthy. So sometimes it can be more healthy. Still team monogamy, but I think we should stop judging people, you know, because cheating only leads to like heartbreak, self-esteem issues, and so on and so forth.
You
But I
know, for
respect.
an open relationship to work, both parties must not only accept the other person, that they are going to be with other people in that kind of manner, but you also need to encourage your partner to have new sexual experiences with others. You don't need to know the details, but you do need to develop a fine line of boundaries Some people can make it work, some people cannot make it work. And that's just how our values dictate how we live our lives. And you can't really change a person's values. If that's the case that you're trying to change your person's values, then that's not your person. And you really need to understand that we can't judge a person's lifestyle with how they live their life, because we also need to understand we're not in their shoes and you don't have a mindset that they have. It's going to be something in which it's only understandable and it works with them. Just because it doesn't work with you doesn't equate to open relationships not working as a whole. It's something in which it's situational for individuals. Their relationship has to be solid. Both people have to be completely honest with themselves. They have to lay down ground rules. And I think the biggest thing is as long as they're both happy, why are you judging their relationship?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you have to decide what kind of relationship you want, whether you want monogamy, polygamy, an open relationship. It's your life, it's your body, it's your heart, your soul. And you just have to be honest with yourself. That's the biggest thing, is their relationship. It's not our relationship. They're allowing us to see their relationship. And it's something in which we can judge them all we want, but it's their relationship at the end of the day. And if they're both happy, we can't judge their happiness.
Exactly. And you heard it here from awesome matchmaker Anthony, and I agree fully.
Absolutely. So it looks like there are other interesting hot takes that are being thrown into this mix. According to Vanity Fair, Anderson Cooper won't leave his son Wyatt an inheritance. It looks like the news anchor's late mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, also said she didn't intend to leave him an inheritance, which is the main reason why he is taking this piece of parenting advice. So, on a Saturday's episode of Airmail's The Morning Meeting podcast, the news anchor announced that he has no intention of leaving his son Wyatt Morgan an inheritance when he dies. He quoted saying, "I don't believe in passing on huge amounts of money. I don't know what I'll have. I'm not that interested in money, but I don't intend to have some sort of pot of gold for my son. I'll go with what my parents said. College will be paid for, and then you have gotta get on it." Cooper previously revealed on an episode of The Howard Stern Show in 2014 that his mother, who unfortunately passed away June 2019 at the age of 95, had told him not to expect an inheritance. It was quoted, "My mom's made clear to me that there's no trust fund. There's none of that. I don't believe in inheriting money. I think it's a curse. From the time I was growing up, if I felt like there was some pot of gold waiting for me, I don't know if I would have been so motivated." And in his new book, Vanderbilt, The Rise and Fall of an American Dynasty, the CNN host wrote about the history of his family and how they went on from being some of the richest people on the planet to losing it all. Cooper told People that his son was a major inspiration behind the book. And he explained and quoted, "In some ways, I wanted this to be a letter to my son. My dad wrote a book before he died about his family growing up in Mississippi. And because he died when I was so young, a lot that I know of him came from that book. I wanted to write a letter to Wyatt about this crazy and unusual part of his family's past." Cooper's father died during heart surgery, unfortunately, when he was 10 years old. And this is more so parenting advice that is being passed down generations. So my question to my co-Jeff is, when it comes to an inheritance, do you think that an inheritance is guaranteed, or do you think that parents has the right to not leave inheritance for their sons/daughters?
I think as a parent, you have the right, depending on what lifestyle you lived. I mean, I would love to leave it to my kids, but I wouldn't let them know. I might even lie about it because I do want them to work hard. But, I understand what Anderson goes to. If you read his books, it makes a lot more sense. I read his first book. And his family was always fighting because of money, and that's something he didn't like. And also his mom. And so it makes sense. He writes more about it in this book. I haven't read it yet though. But my key things is, as long as you're helping them without, are you giving them a property for them, a family to have, but not telling them? I think wills are better when they're surprises. Are you helping them with college? You can tell them they have a college thing. I think that's cool. Like, you're going to college, it's set for you, it's there. And things like that. Things that are necessary, things that are gonna bring you and help your life, progress. That's what I really do think. And I would love to leave more of monetary things, as long as, money. I think I like to leave physical stuff that's memory for them and split that up, even if it doesn't cost much.
Like Anderson Cooper said on the morning meeting podcast, like he's going to go with what his parents said. College will be paid for, then you got to get on it. So basically, what he's saying is that until you're like, what I assume, because I'm trying to play with like biological numbers, once you're 21, 22, 23, you're on your own. He's really teaching his son that don't worry about elementary school, middle school, high school, college, but you got to get on it after you're done and get your degree. It's a blessing and it's an honor, and you should be 100% grateful if you get an inheritance. You are grateful. Not a lot of people are grateful to have that kind of honor. There are points where it's a blessing, but it's also a point of reality. It is a topic in which a lot of people will say, like, oh, like these inheritances, this will help my son slash daughter live their life. But other people feel as though, like, we worked hard to get to where we are at. It's your responsibility to do the same thing. I'm not going to help you. I'm going to help you hold your hand, but there's a point where I have to let go of your hand. So really, this is Anderson Cooper's choice. A lot of people think of like it as like a selfish thing of like, Anderson Cooper has so much freaking money, he's not going to leave some of his money for his kid. That's so freaking selfish. Well, you guys, you need to understand that when you think of it as a family tree, this was parenting advice that he took from his late mother, Gloria Vanderbilt. It's not guaranteed. For some families out there, it's guaranteed. Others, it's not. And it's up to the sons slash daughters to really create their own path. Because I'm pretty sure some of the sons and daughters, they're fine with being known as this celebrity's daughter slash son. But there are other people out there who want their children to grow up their own figure. Like, even for me, myself, like if I do get a form of inheritance, I'm going to be forever grateful that I had this amazing honor. But if I don't get an inheritance, I'm going to literally say, okay, I'm going to make my parents proud when they pass. And I'm really just going to make myself be the star of my own life and really just be the best person I can be. And really just, you got to keep looking forward. A lot of people see Anderson Cooper as selfish. I see him as he's being a father. And this is a parenting choice that he made. This was something that was passed on generations. And he's just passing on the generation of what has been passed down.
Wonderfully said. I agree with that fully. It's important when you have money to go that way, and to do what you believe. But aside from Anderson and talking about, his love, which is his child at the moment, let's get into some love stories as well from reality. The beautiful Garcelle Beauvais from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was actually seen in an episode going through the dating process with the dating coach, which was awesome and cool. Garcelle is amazing, so it's awesome. And I'm trying to get her name right, which is the dating coach was Bonnie.
That was the matchmaker.
Oh, the matchmaker. So she goes through two, and they help her with everything, and you get to see how the process happens and how it really is a lot more helpful than just looking for yourself, because sometimes you get tired of just getting the same people over and over, and it's kind of cool for her to say, hey, I'm kind of in the between of having fun and being serious. Can I find something in both? And the coach and the matchmaker are both helping her. you see them go through the process. They take her to the computer, they see her down, they ask her around her friends, they ask her what she wants, what she looks for, and then at one point they show her this picture, and it's a picture of this older man with like abs and stuff, and she's like, "Wow, he's hot." But yeah, so we see success to that. But I know Anthony has a lot of awesome things to say about this story, and probably maybe even has a connection. But yeah, how about you? What do you think of this and the wonderful Garcelle and Looking for Love?
One of the things that people think matchmaking is, but it really is not, is that matchmaking is really only for like desperate people or for those who are rich or celebrities. Well, here's the thing, that's not the case whatsoever. Our duty as matchmakers is to introduce you to men and women who are quality, committed, eligible singles who are looking for the same values that you are, and they're ready to find their person. And Garcelle is looking for that. Garcelle is ready to find her man. And Garcelle sat down with her dating coach. And the dating coach actually, and I quote, "There's actually a guy that I'm going to have one of my matchmaker friends show to you and see if you might be interested in meeting up with him." And even Garcelle said herself, she likes the idea of a matchmaker. She doesn't like the idea of swiping. She likes making connections across the room. She likes the idea of bumping into someone. There are things that we take as matchmakers and we apply it. So for example, Garcelle wants someone who's strong, confident, has control of their own life. He knows what he is. If he has a son, I hope he's a great father. I want a man who's great with his mom, and I want a man who's confident enough to let me be me. And she wants monogamy. She wants someone who's kind, wants someone who's sexy, wants someone who would love to dance. She even made a funny joke of like, he doesn't need to know how to cook. I'll do that. So, she's looking for what I told you guys: quality, someone who's looking for monogamy, someone who is looking for committed relationships, who is ready to find their person. And I am going to stay tuned to see how Garcelle's date with Bonnie's match will go. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but she actually follows me on Instagram. And if you guys are actually interested in who she is, her name is Bonnie Winston. She is a celebrity matchmaker and she's absolutely amazing. I love her matchmaking and dating advice. She is so awesome. And I really do encourage everyone who's interested in matchmaking to do some research. Because like I said, a lot of people think that matchmaking is only for rich and desperate people. It's not. Okay, let's make that clear. If you're just looking to just have friends, or you're just like, I don't know what I want, then okay, yeah, don't sign with a matchmaker. Because with a matchmaker, we are taking everything seriously.
I love that. I think you said everything right. And I do want to give something cool about matchmakers. Sometimes if you're feeling scared to go to one, actually they have events like quick dating, speed dating in different venues, things like that. If you just want a little taste, if you don't want to pay that much out of pocket, and they do a lot of things like that, and kind of cool to go to that, but only go to them if you're serious, for sure. I think everything has its purpose in this world, and it's awesome to see that. And I wish nothing but the best for Garcelle. She's smart.
I'm crossing my fingers.
You too. And a single mom, which is close to my heart because I was raised by a single mom. So Garcelle.
I also just want to say something as well. I hate when people say matchmakers are just con artists. Well, do your research. A lot of people don't even do the research. There are so many different types of matchmakers out here in the United States, all over the world. And you guys are just making assumptions based on what you see on TV and social media. Do your research first, honey. That's not how it works here.
I agree 100%. And they're doing 100% of the work for you. So, they're on your side. And I hope you guys get to see that too. But yeah. Does it seem like it's a wrap, or do you keep
I
going?
think that's all the stories, but we are so happy and so honored if you listen this far. We thank you so much for listening to episode 8 of So What's Trending. Again, for those of you who are new, if you are very much so wanting to listen to more episodes or follow us, we highly encourage you to follow and subscribe to our podcast, whether that's on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. And we very much so highly encourage if you can follow us on our social medias, which is at So What's Trending Podcast. That's at So What's Trending Podcast. Or you can follow us on our personal social medias with me at Anthony Canapi. That's at Anthony Canapi, Canapi. And you can follow my
at Jeff A. Valdivieso. Jeff A. Valdivieso. And if you go to So What's Trending, you'll see both of our things. And make sure to click on our link tree. It's going to help you out a lot, guys.
And if you guys have any stories that you would like for us to talk about, we highly encourage you to leave a comment below or to direct message us, and we'll take it into consideration. But that being said, thank you so much once again for listening in, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care, you guys. Stay safe.